Someone asked the question, Jax, my parents are, they're trying to ruin my career essentially. So I answered the question. The primary question here is, what if your parents are disapproving of what you're currently doing, of your career? So I begin with, and you must begin with, this very important premise. No one becomes a parent out of obligation. One becomes a parent out of commitment to their own self-interested desires to either clone themselves or bring a person into this world. And that's the key thing there. It's they're bringing a human being into the world, not a slave, not an object, but a human being. So, with that premise in mind, you begin with, for yourself, the notion that you are born a free-willed, free-choosing, free-willing individual. You are your own person. And you are born with absolutely no obligation whatsoever. Only the obligation or the commitments that you bring in for yourself. You got that? So, if you, from that premise for yourself, you begin with that, and then you go into, if you're doing what you're doing, and your parents disapprove of it, disapprove of what you're doing, then you go and you have reasoned confidence. Reasoned confidence is you know enough about it to have reason about it, logic and reason, to know it's the right thing to do. You feel good about it. You check your emotions and you feel good about it. And it's within your ethical boundaries, your moral boundaries, meaning it's something you would do. It's not something you would not do. For example, if your ethical codes are I'd never steal, and your endeavor is going out and being a burglar, then it's not something you would do. Even if you think it's the right thing to do, logically, and etc., and you feel good about it. But if it's not something you would do, it's out of your moral codes, don't do it. You will regret it. So if it's within your ethical code, you feel good about it, and you know enough about it, you have reasoned confidence, and then you go off and do it despite your parents, not in spite of them. And that's the key thing. You do things despite your parents, not you grow up despite them, not in spite of them. Othello's Fall says, why you no become doctor? Big disappointment. Yeah. So if that were to come up, I'll talk about your example. If your parents want you to become a doctor, you tell your parents, Mom, Dad, I love you, I cherish you, and I really, really appreciate you. And I know you want me to become a doctor, but for myself, I know if I tried, I could become a doctor if I wanted. I could go to school if I wanted to be. I could definitely become a doctor, but I don't want to be a doctor. I want to go off and do this. So if your parents don't approve of that, you say, well, I'm going to grow up despite of you. Now I'm going to go off on my own, Mom and Dad, because you disapprove of me and you're not willing to support me for what I'm doing. I'm going to go off on my own and I'm going to go do what I want to do without you. And if at some point you begin to appreciate me for what I'm doing, then I'd love to connect with you. But for right now, I'm going to go off and do this alone. So you go off on your own. So that's the end of the video. To recap, people don't become parents out of obligation. They do it out of their own commitment to their own self-interested desires, to bring either to clone themselves or to live vicariously through you, or to bring a new person into the world. And that's the key. You are a person. So you go off and grow up despite your parents, not in spite of them. So follow me on here and watch my videos. I do one every day, answer your questions. And if you have any questions, please send them to me on my social medias. Connect with me. My website is jaxsolomon.com. JAXSOLOMON. Thanks for paying attention.